5, 4, 3.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Jodo Cast. It's us. I'm Joe. We got Kurt
Hello.
and Leo,
Hey.
and it's attempt number 2 at Ministravaganza since last time it was delayed, and this time they did it. So
No one got COVID this time, so
that we know of.
and somehow they had announcements. I kind of thought
Yeah,
they got them all out of the way at the first time, but they actually had a bunch of new stuff.
because they did dump a bunch of stuff last time, which we covered, and so they actually had a bunch of stuff. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go through all the stuff. Starting with Legion, because that's what you're all here for. But we are going to look at X-Wing stuff. Starting
There
with
were
Legion.
there were basically two announcement kind of streams and like a bunch of painting and whatever stuff, but basically two announcement things, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Legion, they started off with The Mandalorian. And they showed the art from his unit card, and it's pretty cool. It's not Tatooine.
Yeah, and I think they mentioned that like specifically he's meant to represent season 1 Mandalorian.
Right.
So that's why we don't see him with the dark saber or the Beskar spear or anything like that.
Yeah, and although he does have the sigil on his shoulder, which he doesn't get till the end of the season, but
I was gonna say I thought they had said the spear was gonna be one of the upgrade cards.
Oh, maybe
not though. Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't think it was, because they specifically said he doesn't get the dark saber. The spear wasn't until season 2, so
yeah.
The sculpt does have the sigil, and they said like if you're really concerned about this not matching season 1, just shave it off with a knife, because we do see his rifle on his back in the art. We don't have a picture queued up for his sculpt because they showed that off back at Celebration, but they did make it very clear that this mini has no alternate pose sculpt options. There's one set way to assemble this mini, and that's it. And they said
surprising.
Yeah, they said that they were trying to get him to have the rifle, but they were so hooked on his like shooting from the hip quick draw pose that there wasn't a way to like have his shoulders and torso set for that and also work for a rifle or something. I don't know.
I guess it's kind of an extreme pose, but I'm a little skeptical given the alternate poses that we've had on previous people. But
yeah, it's weird that
it's so cool.
He has no alts. We got art for Grogu of him holding off some fire.
Maybe that's a command card or something. I don't know if they showed that later on.
Yeah, it's definitely not on his little
It's not the card art.
So yeah, so it's likely a command card or something like that.
Yeah, he's like deflecting a big explosion. Pretty cool.
Yeah, we got
or flamethrower, whatever it is. Anyway.
Yeah, we got some other close-ups of some art. The art for the whistling bird. That's a command card.
Really, really cool.
And his disintegrator rifle.
Yeah, and then so they showed the art, and then let's get to the good stuff, which is the unit cards. They said they really wanted him to like be able to just work with aims like crazy. He's got tactical, which gives him an aim. He's got lethal, long shot. His melee has lethal. He's got independent aim 1 and dodge 1. He's going to be loaded up with aims and doing all sorts of stuff. Arsenal 2. We don't know what other armor. I think is his rifle the only.
That's the only upgrade we've seen.
Melee.
Right, and it's so he's got bounty, impervious naturally.
His pistol does have versatile, so I mean, if he's in melee, he can melee and then also shoot.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the Arsenal 2 will work if he's in melee.
Kind of an edge case, so.
Yeah. 5 health. He's basically as survivable as Sabine and all the other kind of Mandalorian type folk.
Yeah, red dice with the surge. Yeah.
He can work for the Empire or Rebels. And the interesting thing is he has a Grogu card, and they did say it's only available to Rebels. I don't see anywhere on the card where it says that, but that's what they said, which makes sense. They said, okay, well, yeah, at the point in his life where he grabs his kid is when he's done working for the Empire. And it comes with this sort of little mini game where he's almost like a reverse bounty, because if you kill that unit, or just, I guess, Grogu, I guess you could shoot him off the Mandalorian if the player chooses to assign the damage there first.
You force choke him?
Yeah, replace this mini with an unclaimed The Asset objective token. Grogu may never be restored, so you can't heal him to get the kid back, the mini.
Not even in a future game either. He's permanently dead. You have to melt the mini.
Yeah, rules as written is gone, and he's only that token from now on. Basically, then anybody can just go pick it up, and you get a point if you're hanging on to it. So as soon as they like shoot this child, everyone goes, "Get the body, pick it up."
I want to eat it.
It's a delicacy. And I guess the only other thing he does is you can take a suppression to roll a red defense, and on a surge, choose a unit at range 1, gets 2 suppression, 2 immobilize. On a blank,
he holds them with the force, right?
Yeah, he can like hold them, or on a blank, he will heal somebody, which it's only on the surge and only on the blank on a red defense die, and I think there's only one of each of those. Or is there 2 blanks? There's 2 blanks on a red die. So you're a little more likely to heal somebody than you are to hold them in place, but that does sound kind of fun. Kind of mudhorn somebody rushing at you, and then he's just like, actually stop. Could be cool. Seems fun. I like it.
Did they mention what the small keyword means?
It's the same as ID10's seeker droid, right? So you can't target him, whatever. He doesn't count for line of sight.
Yeah, he's just
something like that.
Like, he's there, but yeah, he doesn't like you. If you couldn't see Din, you can't shoot, even if you could see the kid. Basically,
you
no
one
can't
would dare.
see him. Yeah. Really, anytime you shoot him, it's the player being shot choosing to damage the kid. So it's really, it's on them.
It's like your own fault.
Yeah. The other thing that I think was a little maybe more controversial in the aftermath of the announcement is the next ones they showed off, which is his Whistling Birds command card and his Amban rifle. Oh, Black Betty, Amban. That's where it came from, I think.
No.
They did say that these two are cards that were really like Atomic Mass Games design philosophy in action. It's the first card in the game that takes 2 actions to use. And I'm just going to read this card. It's 3 black dice in melee, which is kind of whatever. But it's immobilized 2.
3 black dice in melee, remembering that this is a rifle.
Yeah.
We see him stun someone with it at one point, right? When it was like out of ammo. I forget. He used it in melee at some point.
He does. He hits the big walrus thing with it in the first episode. I mean, it's obviously a tool for melee, but it is a rifle. And that's where the rest of the card comes in, which is if you're not engaged...
And this is the double action part.
Yeah, perform a speed 1 move, which can get you a lot of places, get you a lot of line of sight. Choose an enemy unit in line of sight. There's no range restriction. Just, can you see him? Roll a red attack die. If it's a hit or a crit, probably will be. It suffers 1 wound and gains a suppression. Limitless range. You're usually going to roll a damage. Basically free damage because you can't defend against. Right? Yeah, there's no you see Darth Vader, you go, oh, I'm going to hide back here with my infinite range thing and just chip away. Damage that can't be mitigated in any way, I think, is
very
a dangerous
wild
mechanic. And
so it doesn't count as an attack, right? So it's like you can't do Guardian, you can't do like a bunch of different things.
Oh yeah, there's just no way to get around it.
No, it would go through a shield token, right? Because those are only
a shield token are spent during an attack.
Right. Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, there's no way to avoid that damage other than hope he rolls a blank or a surge. Which, I mean, it does take him 2 actions, but the infinite rangeness of it feels weird. Because I get what they're going for.
Goes
There's
through
a lot
cover too, right? Doesn't matter as long as you can
Right.
see him.
There's a lot of theme there with, he's got the disintegration rifle. We see him disintegrate Trandoshans and Jawas. So this thing should be nasty, but there's a line there.
It's weird into the Legion
I feel
rules.
like the Defender should still be able to just make it like Pierce 1, but so like you're still gonna almost guaranteed hurt somebody unless it's like a Mandalorian or Vader or somebody who's immune pierce or has impervious. Give them a little bit of a chance, but
you would avoid so many complications rules wise if it were still an attack, because now there's gonna be all sorts of weird situations where it's like, okay, this does apply, this doesn't, and they'll start issuing rulings that they're like, actually this one does apply, and then people will be like, oh okay, and it's gonna be weird, right?
It feels like, especially on a character with bounty, you're just gonna chew up single mini units. Any unit that has a single mini is gonna get like.
But I will say, at the same time, it does feel a little weak to me, in the sense of doing maybe 1 damage per round is not enough for that expensive of a unit. You know what I mean?
He is expensive, and it takes both.
There's some cases.
His whole turn is like, here's 1 free damage, but it does sound pretty clutch. Like, oh,
in
Vader's
some
got 1
cases,
damage. Okay,
yeah,
well.
that they can't hide behind cover or anything. It's not an attack, so they can't dodge, etc. There's certain cases where you're gonna get that last damage almost automatically. Oh, also, you can't spend an aim. I mean, the chances of needing it are like relatively low.
Yeah, it's
weird.
Even without an aim, it's about, you get about a 3/4 chance on a red die to do a hit or a crit.
Would tactical trigger off that move or not? Because it's not a regular move. I mean, you wouldn't be able to use the aim on it anyway.
Yeah, it would. Just tactical would.
Yeah, so you would get this free aim that you can't use. It's just a little weird, It's a little weird.
Give it to Grogu to play with.
It feels like there's some like cogs. The teeth are kind of like grinding a little bit. It could have been a little.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
When this gun popped up and like I just started reading it, I don't.
It doesn't feel like it's written with the right language,
Yeah, and when they were like, well, this really shows the AMG design philosophy, I was kind of all like, great.
And like you said earlier, it does feel weird that it's a rifle, but technically it's a melee weapon that happens to have this ranged ability. And like we know, I think, like it can shoot non-disintegrating bullets, right? Because he specifically loads single shot, like breech loading. Maybe that's all it's good for. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we don't know, but yeah.
But it's just also kind of sad that this will not be part of the miniature.
I would guess the main reason, well, I don't know. One of the reasons maybe that they did it this way was they're like, okay, we don't want Arsenal 2 to trigger off of it, that you do this and then do a pistol, but then I don't know, maybe he just shouldn't have had Arsenal 2 at that point. I don't know, it's like a lot of weird little bits that don't quite match up, so it's just kind of strange.
Well, let's look at the Whistling Birds. 3 pip, so this is just a one-time thing, but during his activation, he gains action. Choose up to 3 enemy units at range 1 and in line of sight. For each chosen unit, roll a white attack die for each mini in that unit. That unit suffers 1 wound for each non-blank result.
Yeah, which is like you
step in the squad if you roll good.
It's great. You step, if you can manage to step in into range of like 3 units of B1s, and then you just toss 24 white dice.
That one seems really fun, but it doesn't quite seem as. It's going to be nasty every time, but because they're white dice, it's not quite as. It's so much. It's so much swingier. But again, it's unmitigatable damage. It's not an attack.
There's no block, no dodge tokens, and they just take the damage. And a lot of times you will probably blink out and be like, too bad. But sometimes you'll get all hits, and you'll just, because that's the whole squad, because it's 1 die per mini. If they don't have 2 health, it will kill everyone. Like, imagine doing it against Mandalorians or something, the 1 health Mandalorians, and be like, sorry, no red die, no surge, no impervious. You guys are just,
it's gonna feel real bad against
yeah
against people like that who are otherwise very tough to kill, and he goes, Here's just some white dice, huh?
It's not good against like a Jedi or a Vader because they'll only take 1 damage out of their health, but
and 1 white die. Well, it's
like less than half.
what,
Right? I think
3
it's one
and
of each symbol,
3 and 8. Yeah, it only has 1 and
or maybe
1 of each.
I
think there's only 1
whatever,
of each.
4.
It's about a 1/3 chance to hit paint on a white die.
Is there 2 hit on that? Okay. Yeah. So I think he looks fun and potentially problematic. Is my take on him. But mostly the rifle. The rest of it looks very cool, I think.
They might end up, rewording them.
Yeah,
right or something.
Or everybody, including us, is a bit overreacting about the rifle. And like we said, he costs a lot, and it's your whole damn turn if you want to just get that kind of mostly free damage. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious. I'm a little sad that he can't have that rifle because I love the holiday specialness of that rifle.
It would be cool to have it on the skull.
Yeah, you know what? Even if they couldn't have him, like, have it up on his shoulder, or just to have it like him kind of like holding it like this, like Boba is he's just sort of like sitting on the mythosaur or whatever that fucking dinosaur is,
or even,
and he's got it just kind of like holding it and pointing it up in the air,
or just keep his like quick draw pose and just in his offhand he's just holding it by the middle.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not using it, but I'm carrying it around because gun.
Or have Grogu holding it and he's like teaching Grogu how to shoot.
All right, well, let's move on.
It's cool stuff though. It's cool.
Yeah, mostly quite excited. They dropped art for IG-88. Is that the one you got up?
Yep.
Really cool looking.
Love it.
Yep.
And they
definitely even cooler than like the actual pose that they showed off for him. So
yeah, we got art for IG-11, which is also pretty cool. Then they got art. This is the art for the Nanny protocol. Nanny program. It's called Nanny program.
AI, whatever.
Yeah,
it's an AI.
That's some interesting art. Like when I just saw like the thumbnail of it, I thought it was actually just like a screen cap from the show, not art.
I mean, it looks pretty arty to me. I guess
I said when I saw it as a thumbnail.
Yeah, I agree. It looks like a lot. If you don't look closely, it looks a lot like it could just be a screen.
But when you see,
somehow catches that style.
When you see it bigger, I mean, you can see that it's especially in Grogu.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, and then they gave us images of the unit cards for IG-88 and IG-11. So let's start with IG-88. Is he cooler? I think he's cooler, but like that's just because he's older and I have more attachment to him.
I think he's cooler, but it's like the strong silent type, right? Like we don't know his personality.
He's not funny.
We know he's brutal. Yeah,
he's so they both have armor 1. They do start to differ after that though. IG-11 is required to take an AI card, so he could take those like attack protocols, defense protocols, or you could give him that Nanny protocols, which we'll get to. IG-88 has Arsenal 2 and 3 weapons. He's got a vibro cleaver, looks like a pretty decent melee. His E11 and his DLT, range 3 gun and a range 4 gun. So Arsenal 2 seems pretty cool. He's 110
and very
points.
true to the character. If you think of like the dual wielding, shooting different guns and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
I find
he's 5 points more expensive than Din.
Yeah, it's interesting though that IG-88 gets bounty, but IG-11 does not.
You're right. That's a little strange.
I wonder if there's like a command card, because they did say that this pack comes with 5 command cards. Presumably some work for one of them in particular and some work for both of them. Like one probably says IG-88 only, and then another probably says IG series or something.
Yeah, IG-11 or IG-88, something like that. I could see that.
They both have Sharpshooter 1. They both have Impervious with red, but they don't save on surges. Both have 5 health to Courage. IG-88 surges to crit, and IG-11 only surges to hit. IG-88 definitely feels like the kind of like
brutal,
the more experienced version. Like he graduated with higher honors at Bounty Hunter Droid School.
And you see, like he's also better. I mean, just in general, at ranged, because he's like you said, he's got the Arsenal 2. With the E11, he's got versatile on that.
Yeah. Otherwise, their ranged attacks are the same. IG-11's got a much better. Well, IG-11's got 4 red in melee, which is like K2 or Kalani, which is great. But IG-88's got red, black, white with Pierce 1, and Pierce is, nothing to sneeze at. Like, we just made a big deal about unmitigatable damage, and Pierce is, the other way to do that. I think they both look really cool. I'm really sad that IG-88 is Empire only, because I don't play Empire, and I like IG-88. But IG-11's Empire or Rebels.
And I guess we'll have to see... Oh, no, I think they said that these, at least IG-88 maybe works in Shadow Collective, too. I feel like
I don't remember.
I thought they told us that way back when they announced it or something.
Well,
I could be wrong.
Because then I could play them, but I'm not sure if it does.
Maybe it's not. I don't know.
I think they both look cool, and I like what I'm seeing here.
And I'll say other than the AI thing that we're about to get into, just off their cards, the biggest difference is Arsenal 2 versus Gunslinger, right? So, IG-11 can double shoot with the long gun, but IG-88 can do his melee plus versatile, and so they're like kind of close, but a little different.
Yeah, basically, IG-11 has to do 2 attacks of the same gun, whereas IG-88 can mix it up. I like that. I like how they're clearly like the same base model, but different enough.
Yeah.
So the Nanny programming card, it's IG-11 only and Rebel only. You can't take it if you're on the Empire. And basically, it's a rule that affects a different card that's not like technically in your army yet. Yeah, because Grogu gets counterpart IG-11, and then IG-11 gains AI dodge move. Basically, it lets you stick Grogu onto IG-11 instead of Din, which is cool and thematic, and I like it. I think if you got real technical with it, it's like affecting a card that's not in your army yet, which is like this weird design space where it's like this card that's in your collection gains this keyword. I don't know. I'm thinking too hard. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, the way they worded it, because
no one's going to be like, technically this doesn't work because the card's not in the army list yet, because it can't legally be in the list until
someone will try it.
I think that's cool.
It's also 0 points, which is cool. Oh, yeah. We have to assume that there's like a bounty hunter programming, and maybe that's what adds bounty to him. I think you're saying that earlier, right? Or
that would make
gives him some other ability. So probably different AI, right?
Yeah.
And
they mentioned he's going to have some kind of self-destruct attack too.
Oh, they said one of the command cards was self-destruct.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. I did look up the existing AI cards from the Spider Droid. Those say vehicle only, so you unfortunately cannot use those on IG-11. That would have been cool though, but
yeah. So I guess he'll have unique ones that are only for him for now until and that's obviously his biggest drawback from IG-88 is IG-88's cool enough where he doesn't have to like follow.
He has no AI rule, so he's not stuck in any weird actions. So that's fun too.
I mean, it is cool because I think obviously there's not a whole lot of canon interaction with IG-88, but he's always seems very like a character.
Feels much more of a rogue element, whereas IG-11 we see being very strict about his programming.
He's very robot-y as far as droids go. Like, oh, this is what I do because I'm programmed this way. Even though the most robot-y robot I can think of in a while is the one who melted Din's droid-hating heart. All right, well, let's go on to the next thing. Boba Fett, and this is the first 100% AMG-designed developed unit. So everything before this, there was some, fingerprints of FFG in them.
And some early pieces that they developed or something. Maybe we
right.
we don't
They
know,
worked
but
on it
yeah.
in some way before. So now this Boba Fett is the first um, uh, fully AMG thing. They called him the daimyo of Mos Espa, and at first I thought that was the name of the unit, which it's not. Which is also weird because they made it very clear that this is based on his appearance in season 2 of The Mandalorian and not Book of Boba Fett. Which
you can tell just by the dent in his helmet.
The dent stays there.
Does it? I thought the dent was taken out, or is
think
it just
paint's
painted
over
over it? Maybe
painted over.
Maybe it's just painted over, so I never noticed it.
Yeah, it's not shiny anymore.
They showed the sculpt. I feel like they might have shown it before.
They showed that sculpt a long time ago.
Yeah,
it looks good. I like it.
I like it. They did mention that he will have options. You can put him without a helmet. I think someone in the stream asked if you could put Din without a helmet, and he was like, "No, that doesn't make sense."
Well, you can use a spare, like maybe Cassian Andor head or something. That'd probably be a pretty good match. Just mod it up.
Yeah, I'm not sure what. I'm assuming he's got different.
I don't know. Have they made a? Have they made a? What the heck was
it? A Pedro face.
The Game of Thrones.
Yeah, character? His Game of Thrones character. I can't remember.
Yeah,
I'm having a brain fart here.
Is it Song of Ice and Fire miniatures game?
Yeah.
Is he in that game?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've got
the serpent or whatever. Yeah, the serpent, whatever. Yeah, that would be cool mod. Someone should do a 3D print.
Dorian Martell, something Martell.
Yeah,
he was one of the Martells. At any rate,
they showed this piece of art which I really like. His repainted. I don't know what I'll paint if I want to paint him
close up with the gun. You're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
I really like that art. Then they showed the art from his unit card, which it sounded. The gist I got from them discussing was they had done all this based on season 2 stuff before Book of Boba Fett came out, because they said they were pushing to get Jabba's palace in the background of this art, and they were a bit iffy on it. And then Book of Boba Fett came out, and they're like, "Oh, okay, it works now." And because in this art, he does look like bigger Boba, like in Mando season 2.
Yeah.
Which I think is what they based him on, because he looks bigger than Book of Boba Fett Boba.
Just a general. This is like one of the first like art pieces that I'm just like, I'm not feeling it. Like the head of the gaffy stick just looks a little weird. His pose is awkward.
The head is he's channeling Han Solo avoiding Greedo shot in the cantina.
I like it. I think it looks pretty good. This is a random little detail, but the jetpack, something about the color of the jetpack looks very Macquarie looking to me in this shot. I'm like, I like it. Yeah, something about the style, the way it's painted. It's like a very classic sci-fi style.
I don't olive drab army surplus metal.
I don't like the clouds either.
Yeah, are there? Do we see clouds on Tatooine in Star Wars? Question. I don't know.
We have now. It's canon. It's canon now.
I'm just saying.
Proved it.
The other day I looked up and I was like, oh, there are clouds out, because I live in the desert and there's never. Except for like this time of year, there's not clouds very frequently.
I guess clouds do require moisture.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
I guess
maybe it's not water. It's some weird gas. It's
the moisture.
It's coming out of the. It's coming out of the palace. It's from the.
It's just bong smoke from Jabba's hookah. It's just hookah smoke. Okay, let's look at his unit card.
Okay.
And his subtitle is "The Old and Wise." And they did say that, Rebel only, and he plays. They referred to his playstyle as patient because he's older and smarter now.
I don't know why they showed the back of this card. Whatever.
I don't know. Whatever.
Okay, well, impervious, 5 health, red saves, surge to defense. He's like every other Mandalorian in that sense, which is cool. 3 courage, which is always good to see someone with 3 courage.
Arsenal 2. Good.
Arsenal 2. He does have. What does he need Arsenal 2 for?
I'm assuming he's going to get extra weapons with his command cards, just like he does.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Oh, maybe. Oh, well, I guess we'll look at his command cards in a second. Because, yeah, he only has his EE3 and his gaffy stick printed on the card, and there's no upgrade slots that would give him another weapon.
I suppose he could use the existing Boba Fett command cards?
Yes,
right?
They did say he can, and vice versa. The Imperial Boba Fett, the young guy, can use these ones. Sure. The new ones they're showing. Jump 1. Independent standby seems whatever.
That seems, I don't know, that seems wild to me that you start every round with a standby that you can shoot for free. That's like
it could attack. Be good, but I guess a lot of people are...
Sentinel is range 3.
Oh, Sentinel is pretty good. Yeah, it's usually kind of easy to get rid of a standby if you see it there, unless they're hiding around the corner.
You force them to have to do that every round that they're thinking about it, or else they're going to take a shot off him. Seems pretty big to me.
And it would mean he'd get double attack potentially on those turns because he didn't take a standby action, which would mean if you take a standby action, you can't make an attack action and vice versa. It's one of those nice situations where you get that standby outside of those limitations. So he could start the round, get a standby, shoot somebody, and then activate, and then shoot somebody again, which most characters don't get to double tap people except for heroes on their like 1 pip command card turn, and he can do it a lot potentially.
It would be good for non-attacks too. I'm guessing you'd see some objective things where you want to fly away with the box, and you're like, although this one's only speed 2, I think early Boba is speed 3, right? But still, that you get a standby and you're like, well, I'm going to run away when you come at me. That could be really big. Kind of cool.
Yeah, it's got 2 training slots, which I always like. I'm excited about this guy just because it's Boba and Rebels. So
his melee looks really good with the gaffy stick. It's 3 red and 1 black, and he gets his surge to crit.
It's a
Gadurfi stick.
Gadurfi. Sounds like somebody's last name. Gadurfi, haven't seen you since '82.
That's how you spell gaffy stick.
Gaffy stick is like a shorthand nickname for Gadurfi stick. Yeah, things can have multiple names. It's fine. But yeah, it's like 4 dice.
And Tuskens. One's offensive. Gaffy stick's actually offensive.
But it looks like a good melee attack. I think you would get Arsenal maybe with his flamethrower or something. We'd have to look.
Yeah, I guess it's probably not going to kick in every turn like IG-88, but on certain command cards.
Yeah,
he does have like the.
Have those?
Look at his original ones too. Yeah, let's look at the command cards next. His new ones.
Oh yeah.
A simple man. If Boba Fett's not issued an order with this card, so it's a 1 pip, 1 unit. Not specifying Boba Fett. So if you give it to somebody besides Boba Fett, he gets marksman this round. He gets 1 aim token, and increases the range of his ranged weapons by 1 to a maximum of 5. What possible range 4 gun could he have that same turn? Because it couldn't come from a command card because we're playing a command card.
True.
He doesn't have long shot on his guns. I'm confused. Unless they forgot to show the like armament upgrade slot on the card. If Boba Fett is issued an order with if you give an order to somebody else, he gets marksman and a name token and increases his range. If you give him an order with it, at the start of the activation phase, a unit at range 1 of Boba may perform a speed 1 move. A unit at range 1 of Boba. Doesn't say a friendly unit. It's just if your opponent goes, oh, me, I moved him, I did it, I was the one. You think it would say friendly?
I do like.
It's probably implied.
I like how in the image the card is covering up some of the letters, so it looks like Bob Fett.
Bob Fett. Well, that's another one. Bob Fett will be. It's another unit card you can use with the same mini. It's just got worse stats if you're on a budget for your list building. So that one's kind of. Hopefully those questions are answered. Can it be an enemy unit? Can you force an enemy unit? Or is it supposed to say friendly? And how does Boba Fett ever get a ranged 5 attack with that gun? Making his way in the galaxy...
They could just be putting maximum of 5 as a means of future-proofing.
Yeah. Does Imperial Boba have...
Well, yeah, well...
a range 4 gun?
Well, his rocket pack does, but that's a command card, so... Again, it could just be a way of future-proofing also.
Making his way in the galaxy. Weird art. The art shows him in that cool scene from Episode 5, Mandalorian Season 2, where he shows up and gets his armor back, beats up stormtroopers on Tython, but the art shows his armor repainted with the black undersuit. It's like a different... It doesn't match the scene, which is strange, especially because in the next card, he looks the way he looks in that episode.
Maybe Weird. This was a different time that he was beating up stormtroopers that we haven't seen yet.
I feel like we can see the Temple of the Seeing Stone back there, but maybe that's just some random rocks. Weird. It's like you said, like 99% of the art they do is like the best thing I've ever seen in my life. So when there's something like that, it just stands out to me.
It's a little detail. I think that's easy to miss.
Well, it matters to me. It ruined my immersion.
Calling for a boycott
of that card only. I'm gonna buy the pack, tear up that card,
and film it.
Or I'll just
look forward to our YouTube video of.
Boba Fett may not perform attack actions during his activation. At the end of his activation, Boba Fett may perform an attack with only the following weapon against each enemy unit at range 1 and in line of sight. So it's melee / range 1.
Wording, but...
Red, black, blast, impact 1, versatile. So it's sort of like Grievous's 1 pip against each enemy. This is the only other card in the game besides Grievous's that has technically no limit on the number of attacks it could make. Because if every single enemy unit was around him, you could make like 10 attacks. Which sounds funny thinking of Boba Fett just sprinting between everybody like a ninja.
Spinning the gaffy stick and hitting everyone.
Red, black, blast, impact 1. I don't know why it's impact. Better than critical because I hate critical, but...
Now I'm picturing Boba Fett, but it's that scene in The Matrix 3 where he's fighting against like the whole crowd of Smiths, and he's just 2.
Like, oh, he's got his the gaffy sticks planted in the dirt, and
he's
just kicking them. That's exactly it. I want that as an altar. And just show a bunch of, instead of Smiths, make it stormtroopers, and this is the bowling pin noise when they hit each other. That seems cool.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice that even though it says he can't make attacks during his activation, if he has one of those standby tokens, he could make possibly one more extra attack on top of all the ones.
That's not an attack action, right?
It's not during his activation, so it just says doesn't say anything about making attacks outside of.
And I don't think the lack of that just means it's easier for you to plan for that card because you're just going to spend that whole turn moving, probably just double move position.
Yeah.
So the last one is
he's chasing him. Yep.
Rule with respect, which is obviously inspired by the Boba Fett TV show, but the art is Din, Fennec, and Boba. Fennec Shand confirmed? Question mark.
Yep.
The card says Boba Fett and 2 units.
2 units. They're his only friends, so... While Boba Fett has a face-up order token, when a friendly unit at range 1 and in line of sight of him makes a ranged attack, add 1 black die to that unit's attack pool. This is the other card that came up today that I saw a lot of talk about being ridiculous. Imagine this card on Imperial Boba Fett with a bunch of Imperial snipers, or Rebel Boba Fett with Rebel snipers. Now they're throwing, like the Imperial snipers would be throwing 3 black dice at range 5 with Pierce 1. Just stick him in a gun line, and that turn you've got all of your guys get an extra black die on their attacks.
Yeah, because it's not the units you ordered. It's
anybody who's
at range
next to him, and Boba's
and
like,
they can
you
move
get...
up to him.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing.
It's not just trooper units either. It's
anybody.
Vehicles, tank. Yeah.
Could
wild.
be.
I think it adds to himself too, right?
Could be Luke Skywalker.
Man. Well,
a friendly.
You know what? If Boba Fett was like, "I respect you," you'd probably feel really good and shoot better. Also,
so he's just giving people thumbs up. He's like, "You're doing great. You're doing good. good form.
Question,
nice shot."
What's the timing on when you flip your order token from face up to face down? Would it affect himself, or would he have flipped it at the start of the turn?
I believe it as soon as you activate him, like you're like, I'm activating Boba Fett. You're supposed to flip the token.
Okay.
I know. Like you normally don't until like the end of the activation. Like you're
technically to all the rules.
Yep, I believe technically it gets flipped as soon as you activate it.
Technically, standby attack though.
Oh, you're right. I have another technically for you. This one, the intent is 100% clear to me, but I'm going to be a rules lawyer. And I don't know if I'm in the right or not. We must adjudicate this. Let's say I'm playing Boba Fett on my Rebels. You're playing Empire. You also have a Boba Fett. Your Boba Fett still has a face-up order token. It says Boba Fett, not while a friendly Boba Fett. It says while Boba Fett has a face-up order token.
When a friendly unit at range 1 and in line of sight of him. So if there's the two Bobas, they make a double bubble.
See, so if I play my Boba card, your Boba Fett and his team around him gets the benefits.
No, but it boosts your guys. Wait, is it friendly to you, the player, or friendly to the Boba Fett?
I would assume friendly to said Boba Fett.
Or is it always friendly to you because it's your card?
I mean, like I said...
Yeah, it's your card. It would be friendly to you. Yeah.
So you guys are beating up the enemy Boba Fett, but he's like, "You're doing so good. Yeah, keep punching."
If I was judging an event and somebody asked me the question I just asked, I'd say no, stop.
but they would try to argue it with you.
I feel like there are cards that have put the word "friendly" in front of things like that. Maybe not. Maybe there's no a friendly. Is there not something that says like a friendly such
Luke
and such
Skywalker
character
or something? Yeah.
Like a friendly, unique character.
Chewie's command card or something. Let's just look it up really quick. Is it okay to divert on this?
Yeah, this is serious business.
This is really critical. So Chewie.
See, but like Son of Skywalker says like after Luke Skywalker performs his first attack, he may perform another attack action. Sure. Well, if you're playing against another Rebel player and he also has Luke Skywalker, he doesn't get the benefit of your command cards.
So. Or does he? We've just
this wide open.
Yeah, we've never.
Luke Skywalker activates, yours goes again, and then you both go twice, 3 times.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chewbacca's is the same too.
I mean, it's just it's a
Skywalker, blah blah.
It's a paradoxical feedback loop that two Luke Skywalkers cannot exist. They power each other up. It makes sense. All right, let's.
And then your Anakin gets the other person's permanent abilities on their Anakin cards and boost each other up.
And then they can just become friends.
They kill all the other units and leave together.
So the next thing, this is brand new announcements, if I'm not mistaken. The next thing up is Moff Gideon and Dark Troopers.
Yeah, I was actually really jazzed when they popped these up on the screen.
I'm looking at what is under Gideon's feet?
Just some rubble, rocks.
Oh.
There is a painted version of him coming up a little bit, so you'll be able to see it better.
Is it a TIE fighter cockpit top? Maybe not.
Buried.
Some metal structure thingy.
Yeah, these guys look pretty cool. Let's just move on to the next picture because they've got painted Dark Troopers.
I'm not the hugest fan of them deciding to not do flight stands. Like
what I like about it
said, like, oh, we didn't want to do flight stands because we can do this now.
It's nice because they're shorter. I like that it's not as high as a flight stand would be, but it definitely doesn't match how we've done minis before now.
Definitely the guys who made Iron Man minis going, oh, let's do this somewhere.
Yeah.
I guess the first Iron Man mini doesn't have that.
But I mean, there's a lot of like Crisis Protocol minis that have like some sort of contrivance to get them flying up in the air without using a flight stand.
Yeah, I don't think any of them have flight stands.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a thing you see with some people. Some people are very anti-flight stand, and some people like it. Like people, some people they put the big flame jets and smoke and stuff on their Star Wars Mandalorians or ARC troopers to get rid of the flight. And personally, I don't like that look at all myself. I like the flight stands.
Big explosion.
It's like the space shuttle taking off.
I don't know if I mind these, but
I don't mind these at all. And it's easier to get away with because it's out of their feet, so it's not like you said, it's not a big, huge thing.
And
the sculpts overall look cool. They have different cool weapons and stuff.
Yeah, there's interesting thing is there's actually 3 heavy weapon options with these guys.
And they do get 2 slots.
Yeah, there's there's the rocket launcher, some kind of minigun type thing.
Yeah, the rocket launcher looks like the one we've seen before.
Yeah,
and the minigun looks a lot like a T-21B that's been minigunified.
To me, it looks like they ripped a gun off of a tank.
It's definitely like a Terminator style.
I was gonna say, it reminds me of the opening scene of Terminator where they're showing the future, and there's that one that's just yeah. And then there's also one with just a big fuck off Final Fantasy sword.
Oh, it looks like a wicket bat to me. It doesn't look like a sword.
Yeah,
it's like just a club. Maybe the way they painted it makes it look less sharp than it should be. But it looks just like a big metal club to me. Maybe these are the if you've read Hitchhiker's Guide, these are the robots from Wicket that go around the galaxy hitting people with these bats.
Oh yeah, that have the exploding cricket balls or whatever.
Right. Which is apparently why the sport of cricket is offensive to everyone else in the galaxy. Because it's based on genocide of the galaxy. But in any case,
that big picture they showed, there's 7 minis, right? So does that match up to the card?
I believe the card. Well, we'll get to the card here in a sec. We're just gonna just real quick. We've got the Moff Gideon art.
Oh yeah.
Which is basically right out of the TV show, him climbing out of the cockpit of the of his TIE. Very cool.
Idiot couldn't even use the hatch.
Yeah.
Did he not know there was a door on top?
I think it
is that canon where the door is? Because I've seen the top opens, and I've also seen somewhere the rear is the hatch that opens.
I've never seen the rear.
In Rebels, the top opens, but this is
the
special
top
folding
is always
wings, so.
I think maybe you're right. The TIE Fighter's upside down at the end of that episode, but I've never seen it not be the top.
I've seen the back in some things before, the big that sort of hexagon thing on the back.
That's where the engines are.
It just they're off to the sides.
It's the reactor for the engines. It goes the actual off of the. Okay.
Anyways, whatever. Yeah, we've got some Dark Trooper art. Looks cool.
Looks pretty neat.
Okay, here's the card. So
I have 3.
It's got a base of 3. They can have 2 heavy upgrades and 1 personnel upgrade. So the max of 6. So you will not
3 heavy weapons.
Yeah, and if we
minis, so that'd be 7 total minis.
Yeah, and there is one of so then the other one just must be add one more mini.
These guys are, I think, some of the craziest units we've seen so far. First of all, they're a heavy slot. They're like, do you want to bring a tank or do you want to bring 6 of these guys?
Which I think is cool.
Cool and crazy to me. They have 2 health each. They have infinite courage, and they really wanted to make them in the show where they just kind of walk forward and don't care about anything, because they're speed 1.
Yeah,
plotting, which I love.
I love that we can
plotting.
now have a trooper in the heavy slot, just because
more bodies on the
field. There's there's a lot of
vehicle command cards that.
Well, I was gonna say, well, not vehicle command cards, but there's command cards. There's a lot of objectives and stuff that care about troopers.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's really cool.
Obviously, droid troopers. They have armor, just not armor 1 like a B2 or K2, just full on armor, which is
like a vehicle. It's cool.
Big.
Yeah.
Plotting. I think this is the only instance of plotting. Remember, it was on the eWeb, and then they removed it from the eWeb.
Yeah, I cannot find it in the Legion Quick Guide.
And then
it must not exist. It must have been removed entirely from the RRG because it was not in the game.
It does not exist in the Quick Guide.
Back. I wonder if they'll add it back or not, because technically it was like an old FFG one. I wonder if they'll be like, oh, it must already be in there.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar, plotting means you can only take one move action during your activation. But so these guys have 2 new keywords, which are, because so far they just throw 1 black die at range 1 to 3. They don't surge. They're 95 points. We obviously don't know how their heavy weapons are. Unconcerned, cannot benefit from cover, and miniatures in this unit cannot be repaired or restored. So these guys just walk forward and they don't give an F about nothing, is essentially their deal. Not even cover. Somehow.
Yeah. And they do it.
I don't know how, like,
and
they're like sitting behind
inside a building and you're shooting through the window.
Yeah.
But
and they do have
like
2 hit points each, so that means if you have all 6 in there, that's 12 hit points with armor and red saves.
Like,
that's
picturing them behind like a brick wall where only their head is showing up, and somehow they don't have cover.
They jump up to let the shot hit them.
They're like, I don't care. You think I care? I'll step in front of your bullets. Unstoppable is the big one here.
Yeah,
it's very strange though.
They can. I mean, it's the helper text is strange, but I think the easiest way to just explain it is they can activate twice each round.
Yep. You throw 2 tokens for each unit into your bag.
Yep.
And then they're allowed to have 2 face down tokens.
Yeah, you can't give it 2 face up tokens. So like if you had an order that said 2 units, you couldn't give both tokens to this one, or if you had some other way to get more for the heavies. So they can still only have 1 face up at a time, but either way, even if you give them a face up one, there's still a second token in your bag for them also, which is
I think nuts. It's cool, and I think it's gonna be less like overwhelming attacks and more just strategy. We're like, oh, I'll go with him, and then I'll get to go with him again later, because they're speed 1 and plotting, so they're not going to get around very fast. You need both of these to just get them the same distance they'd get anyways. So basically, they get to attacks.
And I didn't notice this before, but they do also have a programming slot, but they are not required to take any programming.
Yeah, presumably they'll come with something, but yeah, they're not required. So if you don't want to do something that adds AI onto you don't want to pay,
right? And it's, again, like you pointed out, those other ones are vehicle only, because those seem like they'd all be quite good for this too, because they all like one gives you a precise one and things like that.
These guys do not have a courage value either, so that means they cannot be panicked like other droid troopers. Sure, they don't. They can't be suppressed, but you can panic B1s off the battlefield. Dark troopers, like you said, they are unconcerned. They are the honey badgers of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, they seem cool and interesting. I like they definitely look like they're going to shake things up. I'm not sure if they're going to be amazing or terrible.
They're not cheap. I mean, their base cost for just the naked unit is 95.
Yeah.
And then so like a fully kitted out 6-man squad is not going to be cheap. But
it's interesting. Like, do you think you would take them naked at 95 points 3 black dice, but going
3 black
twice
dice is
around.
worthless. I feel like
But you go twice around. I don't know, and no one can kill them. So
I mean, they are going to be like, you know, even if they're not hurting anybody, they're going to have opportunities to put 2 suppression on people a turn.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be hard to wipe off an objective, right? They could just sit on an objective and aim shoot.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll have to see how expensive the heavies are and what exactly they do.
Presumably, one will be a really good melee. These guys don't strike me as people you're going to be rushing into melee. The other 2, one was the HH-12. Do all of the HH-12s have the same dice pool?
I think they have the same dice pool, but yeah, they have different keywords.
Some are exhaust, some are cumbersome, some are neither.
Yeah,
I would assume these guys would have neither.
Yeah, you'd think.
And then the big one, it's like you think, and it's like a minigun. What if it's just like an even better Z6, with some black dice thrown in there? Or if it's like I thought, and like a big, like just a big, like they called it the Myrtleizer is how they referred to it. They didn't name it.
Yeah. If it's more than a few
4
dice,
red dice or something.
Yeah, if it's crazy like that, going twice per turn with it would be huge. I mean, it'd probably be expensive, but I don't know. Could be really fun, or could be scary.
Yeah.
They seem neat. I want to see people paint them super glossy because their paint jobs are really cool, but they're very matte, and I think those droids always seem super glossy in the show.
Yeah.
Next, they just painted up Gideon.
Okay, so he is standing on part of a TIE cockpit
or a landmine.
Yeah,
could be a landmine.
But it's like buried
like...
under the dirt for some reason. So it's like
he's been pushing it down.
Yeah, he's been standing there for a long time.
That's
what he's doing. He's stomping it down. It's just mid.
He's trying to hide the evidence. Okay, and then. Besides that, so they showed us one of his command cards. You have something I want. Moff Gideon, 2 pip. Cool art of the Dark Troopers landing or going up. I'm not sure. It looks like they're coming in. Because they're looking down. I think they look up when they fly away. This card cannot be chosen during the first round. Also, it goes to 2 units. After orders have been issued, choose a friendly Imperial Dark Troopers unit that has a face-up order token, remove it from the battlefield, keeping all tokens, then place it on the battlefield beyond range 2 of all enemy units. Then flip their order token face down. It sort of lets you redeploy guys.
It uses up one of their 2 turns.
Yeah,
but
it's a mid-game infiltrate.
It's not even a infiltrate though, because it's like a just teleport these guys somewhere, more or less.
That's literally what infiltrate is. You just sort of like
infiltrate. They weren't there to begin with. These guys are already there.
And here you keep your tokens, so you could come up with different. They probably wouldn't have any. Maybe there's something they get from a card. I don't know, or maybe this is their second turn.
You just got an officer with spotter, load them up, and then
keeping all tokens.
Then they fly away. Land.
If you're carrying boxes,
I think you would keep objective tokens.
Yeah, that would be huge. I mean, just from based on playing 40K, the mid-game infiltrate is like enormous. Especially with like a powerhouse unit like this,
They've picked up the asset token, and then they fly away and fuck off to the edge of the board.
Yeah, out of line of sight of all remaining units at the end of the game. That would be huge. That's game ending.
Yeah, and beyond range 2 of all enemy units rather than beyond range 3, which is how infiltrate normally is a big deal because
then they're still in range to shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because their base
cool.
Their base E11 is range 3. So.
Yeah, I like how it takes up one of their 2 things. Seems really good.
That's a good balance.
I'm wondering if because Gideon has a card that specifically calls out Dark Troopers, what if he has
like Coordinate or Dark Troopers
or what is not even retinue, entourage.
Entourage. Sorry, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Was entourage was.
So you could bring like 4 or 3 of them. What's the max heavies? Is 2, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So you could maybe bring 3 of them with him, if he has that.
That'll probably end up being more than half your army right there in points.
fun though.
Would be cool, especially if you had Luke, Operative Luke, on your team. Just Operative Luke. You should be allowed to solo them. They did not note that there'll be an Imperial Remnant battle force, which might look a bit different than regular Imperial stuff because they're less interested in doctrine and more interested in survival. I don't know what that means, but that's what they said. Something along those lines. Then they showed this really cool Ewok art. They called it
Wicket and
Logray.
Sherpa. Oh yeah.
That's Logray.
Logray.
They called it Natural History Museum, which I think makes sense. I can picture walking into a museum and this is a big spread across a whole wall.
Mm-hmm.
About Ewok culture. Yeah.
They said that the artist actually made little clay models of them and posed them all so he could get all their poses right for this, which is cool. I really like this. Yeah. And then the next Ewok art they showed is also great.
I love this. This art is just the.
It's a previous stormtrooper who's about to get jumped. None of them are holding, or one of them's holding a spear, but
he's about to get the sack dropped on him.
It's that guy with the spear. It's his initiation. The rest are just watching. They're like, okay, you gotta poke him right here. The red stuff's gonna come out.
And then we feast.
Then you're an adult, yeah.
He comes with plates for us to put the food on. Okay, they did talk a little bit more about Ewoks. They didn't really show us much besides a couple of the minis, but they said Ewoks are mercenaries, which makes sense, but they can only go into rebel units.
Yep.
And there'll be an Ewok battle force. So if you want to have Battle of Endor, you can have a bunch of Ewoks. Otherwise, he talked a lot about staying canon and being do we want to be reenactment versus what if? And it's I mean, it's like Battlefront 2. You can play as an Ewok anywhere, but also there's only a couple of them, and it's kind of a silly what if. And so he said the battle force is kind of okay, here's the reenactment setup, and otherwise you can still bring I don't know, one or two of them into any rebel list, which
makes sense to me.
Yeah. So if you really want to go all in on them, you got to use the battle force rules, which makes sense.
There's Chewie's AT-ST.
Oh yeah, I think I've got a little bit more info.
Oh,
leave that.
That sounds really cool.
They said Ewok units will be really big in terms of minis per unit.
Well, yeah, we had mentioned that. I mean, they mentioned that back at Celebration. They actually said that not just that they're going to be really big, that they will be the biggest units in the game so far.
Said that
as far as number of minis.
They said there will be Ewoks of different ranks. I doubt we'll have a heavy Ewok. Just the one big guy like Goliath or something.
But probably a commander, right? Or did they mean...
I assume,
special forces ones?
I'm sure Wicket and Logray are probably commanders or operatives.
They said there'll be spear guys and axe guys and trapper guys, whatever a trapper is.
They're guys who trap things, obviously.
If they have a way to lay little tokens out as traps, that could be kind of a fun mechanic. Maybe that's a command card. I don't know.
Ewok log trap.
That would be cool. Insta kill an AT-ST.
You get to take out real sticks and smash it.
They also said they have different morale rules, and they seemed to indicate that they might be more likely to panic than other people, which could be interesting. So then they showed us Chewbacca in the AT-ST. I love the art and I wouldn't have noticed if they hadn't mentioned it. To look in the window, you can see the little Ewok peeking out of the window.
It's good detail.
So this would be a Battle Force specific thing. So presumably they'll just have the card for print and play in the Ewok Battle Force, but it's Chewbacca in the AT-ST, and they said that he has incognito, which I guess makes sense. The Empire won't know it's a non-friendly AT-ST right away
until it shoots.
If you're facing non-Empire, it's kind of a little funny why they don't care about it, but
I don't know how long you're gonna want to stay incognito with that thing, but it's still fun. And it also has Inspire, which they said will help because the Ewoks panic easily, I guess.
And I just think it's really cool. This is the first we've seen of them kind of going cross-faction a little bit outside like the mercenary stuff.
But outside of Republic/Empire as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that you're taking something that before now has only been this completely different faction. You're bringing it into it's thematically really cool, and like that's great. I own an AT-ST. It would be fun to have another way to use it, you know, like.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't own one, but now I kind of want to buy one and like mod little Chewie on top.
Oh yeah.
Cut the looped Chewie off the Falcon.
Yeah,
and glue
him on it. It's the same pose as in this art.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was looking at that. I was like looking at the art, thinking to myself, "That's Loop and Chewie right there."
They did say that you've got to play your Ewoks carefully. They don't tend to live long if you rush them head in, and that low gray will be a support piece. And they showed
so it sounds like a commander that gives out tokens or something. I'm guessing, right?
Yeah. Then they showed a painted thing of low gray, which I guess we'd seen at Celebration.
It's pretty good.
And they did show Wicket also, but we forgot to grab a screenshot of that.
I missed that one.
But like I said, we saw him at Celebration already too. So
they said that Ewoks have an upgrade card called Insatiable Curiosity that lets them basically destroy upgrades off enemy units. I think they might have mentioned it's like heavy weapons.
Well, they said you could steal heavy weapons from.
They said steal and destroy. I think they might have clarified that they don't like start
thematically. It's like they stole it from you, but maybe you don't actually get the card to use.
Yeah. So I guess if you let them close, they'll like break your Z6 or something. I don't know.
And does that presumably not remove the mini? I don't know. It's interesting. We'll have to see how it works. It sounds a little bit like Boba Fett in first edition X-Wing minis, right? That you're gonna clear out. Like, it's kind of tactically cool that you can disable this whatever card that your enemy is using. You know, kind of neat.
Yeah. Yeah. Presumably they won't be able to like get rid of like force abilities.
They like killed General Weiss out of an enemy AT-ST.
Okay, I like that though. They go in and they just pull him out and throw him out. Yeah, it's probably restricted to some gear or heavy weapon or something. Probably not armament. Yeah. Can't imagine them like stealing the Darksaber from somebody. There will be a Tempest Force battle force, which apparently is the Imperial people on Endor. So basically a battle force for the Empire to go against the Ewok battle force. And they said it'll obviously have a lot of scouts and speeders, but also it'll have a new AT-ST character for the Empire that's specific to that battle force. So I guess if the Rebels get Chewie, maybe they get some other kind of more unique, cool AT-ST.
That sounds cool to me. I think that's what the battle forces need, is more like new, unique stuff to them. These weird cross-faction units bring the AT-ST and stuff like that.
Like when they first, I was definitely expecting more things like what they did with the heavy stormtroopers for the Blizzard Force. I was sort of expecting to see that kind of stuff sort of across the board in the battle forces.
Like you were talking, it seemed obvious to just make Han Solo on a Tauntaun unit card, or Luke Skywalker pilot card for a T-47, things like that.
Yeah,
it seemed like easy. Like I feel like it seems fun to give us cards that can work with existing minis.
Yeah,
in simple ways, like that they've done.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like they should have done something to give you more of a reason to actually take the battle forces, because I don't right now there's not. I mean, aside from the Shadow Collective one, which you have to play a bunch of those units, there's not a ton of incentive to play those battle forces, but. I don't know.
Yeah, the Rebel one is really good.
That's not really what our topic is, so let's not get off on a tangent right now.
That's the end of Legion news for today.
Yes. That was a lot of stuff, though.
A lot more. Yeah, I wasn't expecting anything new, really.
Definitely since they announced since they did show quite a bit of stuff back during their virtual, not Ministravaganza due to COVID, I was not expecting them to announce quite as much as they did. But well,
and it's like
cool.
closer to Gen Con too. Like you might think they would just wait till Gen Con, but I'm glad we did. It's a lot of good info.
Yeah, so then they did X-Wing. I might have tuned in late. I'm not sure if there was some stuff before this about specifically the Battle of Yavin scenario, which I know they played on stream. Sounds very cool. But we'd already known about that, and then they announced the Siege of Coruscant scenario pack.
For Clone Wars battle.
Right. And it has... So basically, the scenario packs, they come with those, I think they call them standard loadouts, like the big cards that you can play. Here's the ship, and it's got some baked-in upgrades, which is legal, or you can do the ship and then customize your own upgrades. So it has more of those like ships with the standard upgrades, standard loadouts, and special rules. Like the Yavin one has actual like trench run rules and stuff. This one has... They said you'll have to destroy the shields of the Invisible Hand, so I'm assuming there must be like tokens near the edge of the board that you're attacking, and then once you do that, you like do like a dice rolling mini game to see if you rescue the Chancellor.
That's kind of cool.
So they showed Anakin's card. He has stuff. It looks like it interacts with Obi-Wan. I'm not as versed on X-Wing these days, so I don't have as much insight.
Yeah.
He does have... They pointed out he's got Malice, which is a dark side only thing, which if you use this standard loadout card, you get. I think these are so fun because they're so thematic.
Yeah, it's him in an Eta 2. I think it's the same, or it looks very close to his ability. He already has it in Eta 2, but you get these other built-in cards. You get the ancillary ion weapons, which I don't think is a thing that exists today. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's an existing canon card. So that's like specific to this, I think, which is kind of cool, like adding an ion effect onto your normal gun some of the time. Kind of interesting.
Every time I see new X-Wing stuff, I'm like, I really want to be playing X-Wing again, and I'm like, I'm playing too much Legion, I don't have time. But I want to. I really like these standard loadout cards because they also showed Shaak Ti. Some really beautiful art of Shaak Ti's fighter over Camino. I just love that they have all the baked-in stuff, like the astromech droid built in.
And what's interesting about her, she's also already in the game in the Eta 2, but this one actually has a different ability, and this one kind of combos with the other cards in the box too.
This one, cards. After you perform a coordinate action, if the chosen ship has Born for this ship ability, you may coordinate to an additional ship. And Born for this is a unique ability that all the clones in this scenario pack get. That makes them more, I don't know, cooperative.
And we do see that with the they did show off the axe in in a torrent.
Yeah, his I think he must have got the name because he used a lot of body spray.
He's one of the best smelling clones out there.
They did mention for their scenario play design philosophy is that it's going to be kind of hard. They said basically if you're playing the side that won in the films, so the Rebels or the Republic, it's going to be harder for you because they want the odds to feel stacked against you and to feel really satisfying when you win. I think they said that this Coruscant one, the Separatist side, gets there's a mechanic or gimmick that basically lets them infinitely respawn their droid ships.
Wow.
Which sounds really cool. What were you saying, Leo?
I guess it's still maxed at 12 turns or whatever.
I was just going to read the Born for this ability.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go for that.
Yeah, just, let's see. Yeah. Well, another friendly ship at range 0 to 2 defends. If you're not strained, you may spend your focus and evade tokens as if that ship has them. And if it does, you gain 1 strain token. So kind of like the clone token sharing in Legion.
Yeah.
That makes me think maybe Legion, they should
add strain tokens.
Yeah, give them a suppression. Just give them a suppression if you borrow somebody's token. remove the limits. Remember, they were busted, so they limited it to like 1 per attack or whatever. Go back to the old way, but now anytime you borrow a token, just take a suppression. That's fine.
The clone's like, hey, don't take my tokens. It freaks them out a little bit. They start panicking.
Man. Oh, you're saying the person getting taken from gets a suppression. Okay.
Whichever, I don't know. Whichever.
Either one.
This one, at least in X-Wing, gives you a strain token for giving your focus or evade to someone else.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have to be the same in Legion, but
it
seems like all the clones are going to get this, and so they can kind of all team up. And then some of them, like Axe here, also get like additional effect on top of that works with that. So there's a lot of like synergy. I mean, which the faction already had, but yeah, it's very thematic and cool.
They have Count Dooku, very pretty art of him on Dathomir. This time in a Sith infiltrator, which is neat. One other thing they pointed out was Shaak Ti. They mentioned like the Gendy Clone Wars. They're like, well, in the movie when we get to the Battle of Coruscant, it's the end of the battle. We're seeing the very end of it. Like this scenario can encompass the whole of it. We know Shaak Ti was there because of that and stuff. So like we talked with Lucasfilm, we're like, yeah, that's fine, all this stuff, which is I think cool. I like that. But Count Dooku, I don't know what to say about him. They did say this Roiling Anger ability on this card is a brand new ability.
Turn the engage page. If you're an enemy ship's front arc, you may gain 1 strain token to recover 1 force. That's kind of cool. It's kind of like the regular anger force upgrade, but like you can kind of trigger it. It's not when you take damage. That's kind of cool. A little different. More strain tokens. There should be strain tokens on every ship all the time.
It has the Scimitar title. Wasn't that Darth Maul's infiltrator?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess he inherited it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because here's the thing. Darth Maul landed that on Naboo and
Yeah.
never picked it up, so it was just sitting there cloaked in a docking bay. No one ever
Sidious found it. Sidious probably had the low jack on it, and he saved it for his next friend.
Yeah, he was all like,
hey,
I made this for you, Dooku. Really great, just for me.
Why does it say Maul engraved on the dash here? Oh, that's the brand. It's the brand.
It's like Live, Laugh, Love. Maul, Malice, Mad. I don't know, whatever.
Maul, Malice, Mad. That's the saying. Then there's a unique Tri-Fighter that's might be interesting to people more into X-Wing these days.
Something with strain tokens, deplete tokens, all
I like
that stuff.
Blah blah blah.
But looks cool.
I like that his name is Dis. Who Dis? Then we got Dibs, a Hyena bomber.
DBS-32C. And he's got some cool like calculate action stuff and jamming. So comes with torpedoes and stuff.
I like that he can ignore obstacles. That's a very good upgrade for pilots like me who are really fucking bad at dodging obstacles.
Because the Vulture droids have a unique ability that lets them land on obstacles, right?
Yeah, hyenas come with a similar thing, but then this is like a sort of alternate or maybe upgraded version of that. I think this makes it easier, but it works off the charges, so it's only a couple times per game.
It makes me think that it's like going into walking mode and then galloping across the asteroid as it passes over it. That's what I'm picturing.
Well, they're big. They got long limbs.
They talked about the original Hotshot and Aces pack, which added a bunch of new pilot cards to the game, which was cool. They're doing a second one, Hotshots and Aces 2, which adds just basically a lot of, like they said, a lot of pilots from 1.0 that didn't make the jump, and then a lot of pilots from media that they wish they could have had, or maybe the ship was released before this character came out in a book or a TV show or something. So just a lot more stuff. The cover art they show is Poe in the Falcon. This art is inspired by this the light speed skipping from Rise of Skywalker.
I was thinking about that today, and it's like they're jumping into atmosphere. Like, wouldn't that like blow your ship up to crash into atmosphere at light speed?
Apparently
Let's not worry about
it.
Go off.
Yeah, I can talk. I mean, they jump in atmosphere in Force Awakens, except at least in that one they were like can you even do this? And he's like, I don't know, I'm on solo. But
anyways, not to relitigate those old.
Very pretty art. They also said that they. So I might have misheard if they said 5 new pilots per faction or 5 new pilots per ship per faction, which is a huge difference.
Per ship would be a ton.
I think it might have just been per faction.
Yeah, because I mean, there's what is there? 8 factions and 7?
I think there's 7. 35 cards.
35 pilots seems like a decent amount for a card pack.
Yeah. They said they like didn't have anybody they could draw on for another Fang pilot, which made me think, well, couldn't they just pick a different ship then? And they're like good on Fang pilots? But I don't know. Lucasfilm just gave them the go ahead to just name a dude. Just make up a name, throw it on a ship, you're good. So that's this Tor Fun guy.
Yeah, another
like the art.
Fang pilot. He gets bonuses for blowing. Or he basically bonus a bunch of extra tanks for blowing stuff up, so that'll override the normal bonus attack rule, which is.
The art is beautiful. It looks like he's flying through a blowing up TIE fighter over Sundari on Mandalorian.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, I did grab the art from this one just because you can see in the full art. It's easier. You can see the city kind of in the background and stuff there.
Nice.
Yeah, that one's really cool.
Yeah.
Tor Fun.
Looks fun.
Next one, really cool art, and I hope it doesn't bring up problems again. This is Poe Dameron, a difficult man in the Falcon. The art is from that hyperspace skipping scene where they're like flying by that giant creature. And what does he do? Before you execute a maneuver, you may spend a charge. If you do, ignore obstacles during that maneuver.
Yay.
After you fully execute a maneuver, you can spend 2 charges to perform a white boost or a red barrel roll. Then if you performed a red barrel roll action, expose a damage card. So basically, he's just pushing the ship to the limit, even if it like starts breaking the ship, which feels very in theme with that whole opening sequence where they're like, you can't do this to the Falcon. And he's like, whatever, I'm just going to button mash the cockpit and see what happens.
Fly past all this terrain and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Seems cool. Then we got Jewel Jerjerrod. I think, didn't the FBA, not the FDA, didn't they outlaw jewels?
Yeah.
That's restricted.
Maybe. So this is the First Order bomber thingy that came out earlier this year or whatever. After you perform a boost action,
so
you may
that the family's kind of gone down a little bit. Went from being a Moff to
bomber pilot
to his grandson or whatever is just a security commander
cousin or something. Like he could be barely related, and he's just riding off the name.
But to be fair, if you're like part of like this like supremacist fascist society, usually your name alone is enough to get you somewhere because it's not a meritocracy. They're like, oh, your granddad was Moff Jerjerrod? Sure, you can be the Moff Plus, Moff Premium. That's what we have in the First Order.
We don't have to brainwash this one, so
yeah,
good.
So they must be on hard times. Maybe the family name's tainted because the Death Star 2 exploded. That was the whole thing.
Well, they blame it on.
they were like, you guys. It's a family known for not redoubling their efforts.
This is not a grandson. This is not a grandson. This is a human female, married to Jax Jerjerrod and was the mother of Jothan Tian Jerjerrod.
Jothan.
Where is she from? Join the Resistance.
That's a young reader book, I believe.
Comic. There's kind of a comic-looking picture here. So
okay, so she's
that might be the one where they all fart at Snap's wedding.
So she's his Moff Jerjerrod's granddaughter-in-law.
I don't know. Let me click through Jax Jerjerrod. Jax Jerjerrod, the son of Tian Jerjerrod and the father of Jothan Tian Jerjerrod. This doesn't say which one is actually blood related and which one is the spouse, so we don't know. They could be siblings. It could be like an incest thing. Who knows?
Would be the first time in Star Wars.
If Join the Resistance was a the fart one. Join the Resistance. I'm pretty sure this is the fart one. Wedding.
So maybe the farting characters will be in this pack too.
Let me look up Snap Wexley.
Is this about like Hera's son or no? That's not who that
There's
is.
nothing about Hera's son, and I feel like everybody at Lucasfilm was like, could we pretend he doesn't exist? Otherwise, you think we'd have gotten something by now, unless Filoni's preventing people from writing about him.
Kathleen Kennedy won't let Dave Filoni use him.
I mean, I'm sure there are characters that he's like, hands off, this is mine. Like, I'm not gonna let people write about Ahsoka. I can't find. Wikipedia has been scrubbed of the farting incident.
Oh.
But I'm like 90% sure Join the Resistance is the little kid book where they go to one of those Resistance pilots' weddings, they eat or drink something bad, and everybody like shits themselves. And it's canon. So the other big thing they announced is that a lot of the 1.0 ships that never made it to 2.0 are finally going to be coming out with 2.0 like reprints. They did say that not every single 1.0 ship will be getting this treatment, but the most like kind of the obvious ones, I guess, will finally be getting done. Specifically, the TIE Bomber, which honestly it surprised me that wasn't a thing already.
Yeah, that was also kind of weird. That
one of my favorite ships in 1.0. I guess it's always been an extended.
Considering it's a
like
film.
A core
yeah, core like in the film's ship. You would have thought that it would have been a thing.
Yeah. The YT 2400. They was talking to some people still are bitter about Dash Rendar in 1.0. I think they said that
I'm just bitter about Dash Rendar in general.
I think they might have said that Dash. I think he has a ship card for. Does he have a ship card in extended for like 2.0 for the conversion kit? Because I think they said that like Dash isn't going to be in this expansion or something. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they're
he's already in the game.
Yeah, because these ships did get
they're
stuff in the conversion kits. It's just
they just don't have a standalone if you didn't already own it.
Yeah. So if they don't put the Dash card in this 2.0 reprint, he won't be tournament legal because the conversion kit stuff is for extended play, not the tournament play. So
that
suck it, Dash.
Weird. That would be dumb.
Suck it, Dash. Suffer and suck it, Dash. Then the Alpha class Starwing, the dumbest looking ship.
Fuck off.
It's also one of these ships.
I'm actually kind of mad because I like about a month ago I finally got my hands on one of these fucking ships.
That was the thing. Even the guys on the stream were saying like, I only own one of these because we all stopped playing X-Wing.
I've been looking for one of them forever, to try and own one, but you just couldn't find them. And then now that I finally got one,
like stick on your wedding band.
Be on
your finger.
Now that I finally have one, they're reprinting it. So that's I'm happy, but also annoyed that
the new one will probably have flappy wings.
That'll be cool.
I think it's just the most Legendsy looking ship, like the E-wing. It's silly. Also, I think part of me is like, it's like the only little ship on the Empire that's not a TIE variant, which feels wrong.
It's weird that it's so little, honestly. I mean, I know that's like the canon size, but it's like, why would you make a fighter that's like a little shuttle? I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
It was here's my headcanon that I made up just now is the company that manufactures the Lambda and the Sentinel class shuttles. They got they had a really good pitch meeting. They made this crappy car. All of the people who actually have to use it know it sucks, but the brass, who are the ones in charge of approving
we
the budget,
have to get into the
signing the
Starfighter
contract,
market, right?
right? It's like I think that just sort of thing like nowadays. There's some new troop Jeep thing that all the soldiers hate, but the budget has been approved for it, and because the military contractors have all gotten their way, and so it's that. The other cool thing, new single player starter packs are going to be coming for X-Wing, including each of which includes 4 ships for their faction. So there'll be like a Rebel starter pack that has 4 ships and an Imperial starter pack that has 4 ships. Rather than buying a core set that's sort of made for 2 players, you just get the one starter pack. So for new players who maybe don't want to buy 2 people's worth of stuff when they start.
Yeah.
Which it sounds like a great new way to get
nice.
people into the game. The
I
fact that they come with
too little, too late, but yeah.
The fact that they come with 4 ships makes me feel like it might be more expensive than the regular old starters that only came with 3 ships.
True.
But maybe that's kind of what you need to have, because obviously the original starters, you don't have enough to go to and go play a full-size game.
Right.
Maybe with 4 ships, you'll have enough to be able to, like, well, I own these 4 ships, I have enough to make a full squad and participate in my local community. The only other thing they said for X-Wing is that there will be more scenario kits. The Battle of Endor scenario will be out in time for Return of the Jedi's 40th anniversary, which is next year, I think.
Yeah.
And they also mentioned Battle for Starkiller Base and Battle of Jakku, and they're just going to be pumping out lots of those scenario packs, which is cool. I really want to try the Battle of Yavin one. I want to just try them in general. They sound really fun.
We need some kind of scum-based battle pack. I don't know what that would be.
The Battle of Tanab.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, actually, yeah, like a cool scum Lando.
The little maneuver.
Uh-huh.
I think that's it for Ministravaganza Day 1.
Well, there was some stuff. Didn't they talk a little bit about OP? A little bit.
Oh, they did for X-Wing. I just didn't put that in my tweets, which is why I didn't remember it. Yeah, because it sounded cool to me. I'm sure we'll find reasons why maybe it's not cool. What they said is so Adepticon 2023 will be Worlds for everything. And if you've got invites to Worlds from past stuff, they'll honor it. Still curious how they're going to do that. I intend to go because I have a Legion Worlds invite from 2020. But I don't know how they're going to verify any of that stuff. So I assume it'll be a shit show, but it'll be fun anyways. Starting then, so basically Adepticon to Adepticon will be their organized play season. So Worlds will be at every Adepticon in March or whatever. And then in the in between is when you'll be able to earn invites to Worlds. It sounds like maybe it's just Worlds, and then they'll have store championships and regionals. And this is the new cool thing they mentioned, is that store championships will come with like an invite to Worlds. They said regional championships will also come with an invite to Worlds, although that'll be like a premier invite, which includes I think some free like buys in the first round or 2, depending on the number of players.
Yeah.
Whereas, and other places like the big events, I think your world invites includes like airfare and stuff. But
like
if you win
the LVOs
invite,
and things like that.
Yeah. But if you win a store championship, you get an invite to Worlds. You got to get yourself there, and you don't get any special treatment. But they said basically their philosophy for that is there's a lot of players who are probably really good, they wanted to make Worlds actually Worlds and not Worlds. Here's like the guys who travel all over the country and have all this like free time to hit up every major event. And obviously those guys are going to go hit up every store championship now, I think. But it makes sense. Like, oh, there's like this guy, he's really good at X-Wing. He loves X-Wing, but he can't travel more than one time a year, so he doesn't have an opportunity to. Now he can spend that opportunity going to Worlds or something. I don't know. I think it sounds cool.
And FFG did start to do something like that when they did their final revamp of OP.
When they renamed everything, all those weird things?
No. It was after they dropped all the weird names. because when they were like nobody knows what the fuck the hyperspace and the dingle shits cup is or anything, you know. Because remember, but they did it like right before COVID, so like they barely got started. But they changed it to where store championships still didn't give you like world invites, but they bumped up the amount of regional tournaments to where like a store like you could have like X number in a region, and like a store could do like 2 regional tournaments a year. Like there was like they split the year in half in 6-month periods, and you could do like one in the first half and one in the second half, and it like so like they did drastically increase the amount that they were going to do that do world invites. It's just it never really got off the ground because COVID happened like right after they made those changes.
It did sound like this was specifically for X-Wing. Who knows if I would assume they would do the same thing with Legion and Crisis Protocol, but I don't know because this was like part of the X-Wing thing. They never mentioned any organized play in the Legion stream that I heard. They also mentioned there will be continue to put out like little special event kits that have little mini scenarios that are kind of like that Dianoga kit for Legion. They'll keep doing that sort of stuff for X-Wing, presumably Legion as well. But they
did show off again a little bit.
Oh yeah, that
one.
They showed it before.
The spy. I forget what the fuck it's called, but it's the one where you gotta like sabotage the or hack in the Imperial base or whatever.
Yeah, those are cool.
But I kind of like tuned out of the stream by that point because I was at work at the same time also. So
I'm wondering if this whole Store Championship Worlds invite thing will extend to Legion, or if it'll just be X-Wing. I would assume they just kind of unify it across all their games.
It would be weird, I would think, if they didn't do it for both games or in even Armada too.
Yeah, because Armada still getting organized play support. Even if it's not getting...
I forget. I feel like it's changed a lot.
I don't know, because, well, they're doing Armada Worlds, at least this year, so yeah, so I guess I don't know, but yeah.
Anyway, I think that was cool. I like that idea. Like I said, maybe it'll get abused when all these guys with all that free time are just going to hit up every single store championship in, like, the nearest 5 states. Like, I only had to drive 14 hours to get here. No big deal. Like, you know.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, they can still only win one invite.
True.
I mean, unless I guess it
scoop up all the invites to prevent the competition.
I guess unless you lie, because technically, if or at least the way it worked under Fantasy Flight is if the person who won the tournament already had an invite. The invite then passed to the second place person.
True. And usually, in my experience, everybody is like, yeah, I got one, you know, take it. I don't think there would be anybody who would lie and get 2 for whatever reason, unless they really wanted to, like, give it to their...
Yeah, sell it for some money.
Yeah, the only time I could see it doing it is, like, you win an invite at a store championship, and then you go to LVO and you win, and you're like, oh well, now I want the LVO one where I get my airfare paid for or whatever, you know. So
yeah, that's true. But yeah, the TO usually, if they're doing it right, will make the person like sign it and fill out their information when they win it, so it's not like it's transferable, I guess.
Yeah, but you slip them $50.
Then you sell it for $100.
Because you go to every tournament, you buy all of these. Now there's no worlds except
you're
for
the only one who gets
and
there.
Then you sell it to whoever you want to go to the tournament with you, and whoever can afford it.
Or you sell it to people who promise to lose to you.
And there's a little extra money. You pay them to take the thing and to lose. and they sign a contract which you will enforce in the court of law with your expensive lawyer, you're gonna win Worlds. And there's nothing in the rules that says you can't pay people to lose to you. I checked; it's not in the rules.
And there's
it is in the rules, though. I mean, I believe there is rules against like fixing, or like
here's one for you.
Like colluding with your opponent.
I have a question for you. I have a question for you. What would you consider official Legion?
Well, that's why I was just gonna say, but none of those documents are on the Atomic Mass website. They're only on the FFG website.
No longer legal.
There are no official technical AMG published. There's no like competitive documents on the AMG site. I noticed that when I was working on the quick guide and there was a reference to silhouettes, and I go, is there an entry in the reference guide for silhouettes? And there's not. I'm like, okay, it's because these are defined in the tournament regulations, which don't exist on the site where the rules reference guide exists. So obviously people are still referring to that old one, but there's technically not a AMG sanctioned or originating tournament document, which is funny to me. So anything goes. That's why we got to get this scheme in before they get wise.
Whatever,
only do it 1 year.
Like the way they fuck up the documents they do have over. I don't know. It's probably better if they just leave the tournament documents over in the Fantasy Flight website where they can't touch them.
I'm just picturing the person doing that scheme at one point would go, my father will hear about this. Guaranteed. When something goes wrong.
And their father? Kathleen Kennedy. It's all part of a conspiracy.
All the way to the top. That's all I got.
Yep. There's 2 more days left at time of recording.
Yeah, there is still. Yeah, I think there's not really anything too terribly interesting tomorrow. I believe on Sunday there's still that panel called like full of surprises or something like that.
Yeah. A Star Wars stream. Okay.
The symbol next to it is a painting thing, but that could just be a wrong thing or a misdirect. The name doesn't sound like I don't know. It could be they're painting a specific character that quote makes sense for.
Is it a
full of surprises?
Is that not a paintbrush? That's Luke, I think. You'll find I'm full of surprises. I think he says that on Beth.
It's like a Luke painting stream.
Right, you got to study up if you want to ever do good at what is Misa saying.
A Star Wars stream, though, is a weird. Whatever.
That's not a paintbrush. That's the fingertip of somebody or a tail of a lion.
Scooting a noodle. Tail of a lion. That's pretty good. Yeah.
So I guess, like we said, we're not expecting much tomorrow. If there is something cool on Saturday,
you'll hear about it here. Not first, but you'll hear about it here. You can't hear about it on our Twitter first, but I thought I did a decent job of keeping up to date today.
You did. Yeah, good job, Joe.
10 people.
All right.
Okay. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Let us know what your favoriteest thing is and how concerned you are about all of the new Legion cards and how everything is going to get broken.